you one thing, if a little green man pops out of me, I'm shooting first and asking questions later.
You are on the verge of destroying the entire universe.
Welcome to the Strange Podcast with Sam and Logan.
If you enjoy the show, please go to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you're listening, and please give us a good rating. If you want to share a story or have ideas for a future episode, you're welcome to visit us at www.thestrangepodcast.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome to The Strange Podcast. This is episode 25, and I'm Logan Marks.
And I'm Sam Baxter. Today is April 6, 2018. 25 episodes.
Yeah, 25 episodes is a good, we're like a quarter.
Yeah, a quarter of making no money.
Big shit. A big dirty quarter you find in the sewer system.
Yeah, that's, unfortunately for us, it would be no disrespect, but it'd be like a Canadian quarter. We can't use it. Vending machines won't take it. Okay, you try to sneak it into the cashier, hopefully they'll take it. No offense, Canadians, but we can't use those quarters in our currency.
I know where the place I used to work at a library, and people always would try to use the Canadian quarters in like the print machine so they can make prints.
Really?
Yeah, and they would always try to go, "This is not working." And I was like, well, let's take a look at that. So I'd have to open the super machine up.
Yeah.
That's just why. What used to piss me off, though, is people would put like 50-cent pieces in there. And it was like,
how do they fit in?
Because they're huge, and you get like barely. They had to like jam it in there because you can barely fit the 50-cent piece. So they're like all pushing it down with their thumb.
They all got a hammer. You just hear somebody hammering back there. It doesn't work.
I got it through finally.
Fuck.
Oh man, it used to piss you off because I'd have to go in there like to open the machine up, and they're like, "Why didn't it work?" Because it's a fucking 50-cent piece.
Yeah,
that's why.
And
it says on there, no 50-cent pieces on it.
Oh man, oh the good old library. I'm sure there's many good tales from the library.
Oh man, I have all kinds of stories. I have to say the library was one of the craziest places I ever worked. I've never had to deal with so many insane, stupid people in my life.
Well, I always hear that people like sometimes it's kind of like a thrill to try and have sex there. Did you ever catch anybody doing that?
At least twice a year.
Twice? How many years were you there, man?
I was there about 4 years, and like
Dang.
at least twice a year, somebody was always trying to have sex in there.
Oh shit! You actually caught him, huh?
You can hear them back there, all Yeah. And it was always like high school kids,
Of course.
Yeah, trying to get back there.
Just getting some thrill, huh?
Yeah, trying to get a little thrill, or like during the winter, trying to find a warm place to fuck. I guess I don't know.
So what'd you do? Did you end up besides watching them? What'd you do?
I was like, in 5 minutes, you guys are gonna have to stop.
In 5 minutes, this will be disgusting. So I can only watch 10 minutes of that. This is no more. You guys
No, I just walk in the room and say, "Hey," and I'd flash the lights. I was like, "You guys need to get out because this isn't a fucking hotel."
Oh shit! No back talk.
Usually not, because the girl would always be like super embarrassed.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm like, really? Now you're embarrassed?
I know. Oh, now you realize it.
Right now.
Yeah.
Now you realize, oh, this isn't a sex dungeon. I thought it was a sex dungeon.
Yeah. Don't look at me. I'm beautiful. You're not allowed to look at me. Well, don't fuck in the fucking library.
Yeah, most of them weren't very beautiful.
Nah, I know. I'm just talking like that's in their mind. Yeah. They don't know that, right? Man, I bet there was all kinds of good shit that happened there. One of these days, you're going to have to open up the vault on that and just talk about
the vault?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I can talk about all the drug dealers that go in there. Oh, man. It was always like druggies going in there, like trying to get high in the bathrooms.
Why in the bathrooms? Why in the library?
I don't know. Because it's the only place I wouldn't kick them out, I guess.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, it was always like a drug dealers people would take drugs in the bathroom, or it was just a lot of like people who were just looking for, like homeless people were looking for a warm place to hang out.
I can see that. I can see that.
And you just dealt with a shitty class of people.
So the people they're trying to do drugs and then they're just gonna read some books and be high on them. I want to read as many books as I can. Let me take the speed. I want to read all the fucking token books.
All the token books.
Fuck, man, those books are huge, man.
It was a good time, but I'm glad I'm done with it.
Yeah, sure. But it sounds like there was some good shit there.
Yeah, there was some good stories. So, speaking of stories, we should probably get into the news, huh?
It's time for strange news.
All right, well, first story I got was something from the doctors. Doctors urges to ditch toilet paper because it could cause anal fissures and UTIs. So,
What?
yeah, man. So, apparently, toilet paper is not as clean and as good as you might think it is for you. Wiping without toilet roll alone could leave feces behind. Excessive use could even lead to health issues such as anal fissures and urinary tract infections. So, they're saying that basically toilet paper, when you use it, it doesn't really remove all the shit in there, in your ass.
That's why I have the bidet.
Oh yeah, the bidet. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and I don't mind if I badoo. I do it all the time. Works great.
Yeah. They're saying the bidets are actually better and more environmentally friendly. Hasn't really caught on in the United States too well yet.
Yeah, a lot of people, when I tell them, they're like, "Oh, I would never use that."
No, that sounds
good
fantastic.
old-fashioned toilet paper.
No. I mean, even wipes are better, right? Because wipes can actually clean out, right?
Yeah.
But
Did they say anything about the squatty potty being healthy?
No, they didn't talk that.
Costco had it for like a 2-pack. I was like, man, why would you need 2 squatty? I guess most people have 2 bathrooms anyway.
Oh, really? I guess so. Yeah.
But I knew a couple people that were like buying them in groups.
Oh, really?
Like it was like, yeah, because Costco was having them for like I think it was like $15 or something like that.
Oh shit! Damn.
So they were like, yeah, I'll buy them, and then you get one for your bathroom, I'll get one for mine.
Oh man. So as you were saying, like the bidets, though, like places like South Korea, Japan, Egypt, Greece, and Italy, they're pretty commonplace,
Mm-hmm.
But here they're not. I'm not sure about our friends to the north in Canada or in Mexico. I don't know, but yeah, they're just saying that the toilet paper may not be as good for your ass or your body as you might think. Just because they're not as clean, they don't just get everything, like I said. And like I said, wipes are preferred, and bidets, I guess, are also pretty good. I can't speak on bidets. You can, and it sounds like they're fantastic, right?
Oh man, they're the cat's meow.
Are they? Do you have the warm water one?
No, like I told you that I didn't. I just hooked it up to the cold line.
I just hooked it up to the river.
It's ice cold in my ass.
That river water is good in my ass.
It's like ice cold's kissing my butt.
Yeah, so I guess toilet paper's out, peoples. Go for the bidet.
No. A Filipino cult claims to have mastered invisibility by keeping human body parts hidden in their mouth.
What?
Yep, a cult claims he can give followers the power of invisibility by keeping human body parts that are stolen from graves inside their mouths. So yeah, they
Okay.
Basically, the group is called the Iron King Group. Pays grave robbers to snatch bones from cemeteries before preserving them using bleach and coconut oil.
What the fuck?
Coconut oil, but why bleach? If you're gonna be putting it in your mouth.
Bleach is not good, man. Maybe it makes you blind. That's why they think that they're fucking invisible.
I can't see anymore.
I know, I'm good. It fucking worked. This is a cult, huh?
Basically, they believe like the spirit of the body will work as a guardian for you if you offer them prayer. They'll even protect your house and your family. Well, I guess you gotta pray to the dead in order for this stuff to work.
I bet they're claiming it, right? Is there any video or anything on this?
Well, it said there's a journalist that went over there and was trying to do a documentary on it. I don't know if he finished it yet or not. This is the same group. I guess last month they grabbed headlines claiming that they granted people the power to be bulletproof by hacking them with a machete.
These fucking people just like to dismember body parts, don't they? That's all they want.
It's like a blood cult.
Must be, man. I mean, why else? All they're doing is cutting off body parts, and that's giving them magic or something.
I mean, that's what cults do. Well, at least most of them.
Yeah.
They offer them something.
Yep. And I guess if you're gonna believe it, man, might as well make it fucking good. Visibility like the Predator, huh?
Like the Predator, huh?
When you first said that, I was thinking about the Predator. I was like, oh shit, they fucking mastered how to look like the Predator. I was like,
that's how they start hunting people so they could like shave off their body parts.
I know. Well, didn't that what the Predator did? Kept the skulls.
Yeah, he kept the skulls. Yeah, those were like trophies, remember?
Fuck, maybe this Colt's called Predator. Is that what
You should call it the Predator Colt.
Well, speaking of body parts, still. And this other news tidbit, a drunk wedding guest jumps out of a window into a crocodile pool as horrified revelers see his arm ripped off.
I'm guessing this was in Florida.
No, Florida's off the hook on this one.
Really?
Yeah. So a drunken wedding guest was left bloodied and dismembered after he jumped into a crocodile pool and had his arm ripped off by the man-eaters while his head was clamped in their jaws. Colin Miller had inexplicably decided to break into a crocodile cage at Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe, South Africa, while out boozing. So, incredibly, he escaped with his life after the 3 crocodiles released a blood-soaked tourist to fight over his torn arm, allowing a worker and another man to drag the tourist to safety. So, because his arm got ripped off, they were all fighting for that little piece and, let go of him. And the others helped him out, get him out. Yeah, but this guy basically, he just went into the kitchen at the Victoria Falls River Brewing Company and just jumped out the window. Thought he was going to be cool and funny. But little did he know there was that crocodile pond right outside the window. So, luckily the guy was saved, but he lost an arm. And
It's all fun and games until somebody jumps into a pool full of gators.
And the gators are supposed to have been domesticated.
Oh, so they were like a part of the place that they were at?
Yeah, but I don't think the guy knew that they were down there though. He just fucking did it.
You think that'd be like you would notice that when you're walking? It's like, oh look, there's other gators.
Yeah, exactly. Nope.
Maybe he just forgot about it. He's probably having such a good time.
He was. He might have been having a good time, and his fucking good time ended right there. He sustained several injuries, including the loss of an arm. So,
oh man,
yeah, guy jumped into some gators, and again, Florida, this isn't you.
What he should do was put his arm in his mouth, because then they wouldn't have been able to saw him.
Yeah, yeah,
don't be invisible.
You would have been invisible, yeah. Fuck. He needs to join that fucking cult. Then he would have been immortal. So what do you got?
Oh man, have you ever gone to Sonic's?
The Seattle Supersonics?
No, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I have been to Sonic.
So what do you usually eat there?
I've had burgers. I've gotten the cheeseburger there.
Is it? I've only been to Sonic's I think one time, and I got their it was like not ice cream, but
whatever their like Blizzard type thing is.
Yeah, they're like Blizzard kind of thing. They're pretty good, but
yeah.
I never went before. But I guess in Gulfport, Mississippi, they're having some problems with their customers. A Sonic in Mississippi is sending a message to anyone smoking marijuana in their drive-thru. A sign in the window reads, "Attention! If you are smoking weed in the drive-thru, you will not be served."
What?
Please show some common courtesy and smoke and air out before pulling up for your order.
What the fuck? Why?
See this. The store manager Yasmin Freeman told the Sun Herald the sign was posted after a customer blew smoke in the face of an underage employee. She added that the employee at the restaurant were tired of smelling the smoke while taking orders. Man, it must happen a lot then.
Damn. Sonic's the place to go if you're high.
I know. Let's get the munchies. Let's go to Sonic.
I know. Let's go to Sonic. So I wonder if, like New York, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, like, is Sonic fucking popular there? Like, if we're smoking weed? Like,
I don't know. I guess in Mississippi, that's the place to smoke weed and go to Sonic's.
Oh shit, man.
Shit, it must have been pretty bad though. I mean, I can just imagine they're like rolling in and then open the window and all this fucking smoke just. But they're all hot boxing in the car.
I know. Oh no shit. Just fucking throw it in the bed of my truck. I can't open this window. I don't know, man. I mean, I would think the marijuana smoke would be better than the cigarette smoke, right?
I would like it better.
I think so. I think it would be better, but
honestly, I really never minded cigarette smoke. I guess it depends on what brand. Because there's some people I know that smoke, or like when I grew up, because a lot of people don't smoke as much as I used to.
Okay.
But when I was growing up, I mean, there'd be certain people that would smoke and they would smell bad, but there was other people that did too, but they didn't smell as bad. Like they smell like
honey. No.
Smell like honey. Honeydew.
Yeah, I know. There were always some people that just smelled real bad. I don't know. I don't know what the difference was. Maybe it was a certain brands, right?
That's what I'm thinking. Or like, I know. Like, I always like to smell cigars.
Yeah, cigars aren't bad.
So I like when people smoke cigars and I can smell them. It didn't smell like really bad. I always like that smell.
Yeah.
Like I think regular cigarettes just like didn't smell as good to me.
Well, Mississippi people, I guess it's not like folks don't like you smoking weed, so maybe to take up cigarettes. That might not be a problem. So my next story, I have a explicit photo used to sell Ferrari on eBay has people blushing, but there can be a simple explanation. So basically, a Ferrari 360 Modena Giallo. It's a bright yellow one, and for those who like Ferraris, it looks like a nice car. But you think, however, if you're putting a bright yellow Ferrari up for auction, you don't need to get too clever or creative with your photos. I mean, it's a bright yellow Ferrari after all. But on the 7th picture, this person who's selling this car for £35,300, in picture number 7, there's a from the driver's side, there's a picture of a girl bending down as if she dropped something between the driver's legs and she's retrieving it. Like maybe she dropped her phone between his legs, and so she has to reach down to go get it.
She has dial somebody with her nose.
Yeah. She has to make sure his leg hasn't fallen asleep, so she's touching it with her nose. So you know, everyone jumped on it and were like, "Holy shit, what's this woman doing?" And others were like, "Hey, she just probably dropped something, or maybe she's gonna fill the gas tank." You know,
just fill the gas tank.
You know, and it was part of the pictures that he's trying to sell the car in. So maybe they're like, "Hey, you get this car, you're gonna get this." It says the reason that people are putting the Ferrari up for auction is because they're tired of the UK, and they don't want to take their car overseas, so they're just trying to get rid of the car. So if anybody, you know, wants to buy a Ferrari for £35,000 in England and a chance to possibly have a woman drop her phone in between your legs and retrieve it, this car may be the one for you.
That's a lot of money for a
phone drop.
For a phone drop.
Yeah, I know.
Well, there's that one chick like probably a little while ago that remember she was like selling her virginity on eBay.
No, I never saw that.
You remember that?
No.
So I think somebody paid like a couple million for it or something like that.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
I know, especially for a virgin. I don't know.
I
don't think I'd want to have sex with a virgin because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Give me an old prostitute, you know.
Yeah, I want somebody that can fucking all night.
I want some experienced lady.
I know. That's a lot of money. Well, like you were saying, it's a lot for one woman. But what if this leads to many women?
Many women. Yeah. Oh, because
it's Ferrari, yeah.
So. That's true. The chicks dig cars.
Yeah, it might be an investment. In more ways than you can think of.
That's true.
So anyway, what do you got next?
I got End of the World. Voicemail linked to Stephen Hawking warns of April alien takeover.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, everybody better be careful. A mysterious cryptic voicemail, which is being left on the answering phone of Twitter's users' mobile phones, has sparked a meltdown. The apocalyptic message is an eerie robotic voice, also including a strange code that people have been trying to crack. Fear and paranoia have been sparked among many amid claims this could be a clue to what happens to MH370. The truth about aliens and the date of the end of the world. This code is said to be in the NATO phonetic alphabet and has been transcribed as S danger SOS. It is dire for you to evacuate. Caution, they are not human. 042933964230. SOS danger SOS. So apparently this message got out to a bunch of people, and now people are trying to like decode it, and it's freaking everybody out because they think the end of the world is going to happen on April 18th, that we're going to be basically attacked by an alien invasion.
Oh, really? Alien invasion. So this was from Stephen Hawking's You said from his work.
Well, because Stephen Hawking, before he died, he had said something about
the aliens will invade us.
that we need to like branch out.
Be like a little more open-minded, right? Like work together, not be so warring upon ourselves, but maybe. Because I remember Ronald Reagan had said that because there was like so much turmoil and shit going on in the world, and he was like, maybe we need an alien invasion to bring us together. Like that's the only way.
Yeah.
I remember him saying a quote something like that. So now that Stephen Hawking, he also said that. I remember him saying that too, like a month or two ago before he died.
Yeah, he said something about some users cracked the code with a strange message about late scientist Stephen Hawking, who allegedly said they are taking over. So we'll see what happens on the 18th. When is that?
The 18th? That's in 2
not
weeks.
Not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. Oh, at least it's a Wednesday,
Yeah, and really, nothing really good happens on Wednesday, so.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. It'll be hump week, and I don't know. I would mind an alien takeover.
You wouldn't mind one?
Oh man.
What if they have their probes?
I guess if they lube it up enough, I don't really care right now.
Okay.
As long as they're gentle.
Yeah.
As long as they're gentle.
I'll be first.
I don't know. I think it'd be kind of interesting. I think, like you said, I think it's probably the only way the human race would actually get together and unite.
Yep.
Is if we had like somebody else trying to destroy us besides ourselves.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. It would be horrible if we all get together and we still can't fucking do shit. Right?
Well, I think most likely will happen. It'll be like different countries trying to like strike deals with them. It's like, if you just leave the U.S. out of this and take over everybody else, we'll help you out.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but the thing about it is, if the aliens are so powerful, they'll be like, "Fuck you and your deals. We're just gonna fucking.
I know.
We're gonna enslave everybody. We don't fucking need your deal. We're gonna take what we want."
This planet's meant for destruction by the 18th. So
yeah,
you haven't paid your bills.
I know aliens are like, I got to get mine, so I'm gonna take yours. I don't fucking care. If you were a good adversary, then I would probably cut a deal with you.
But you're all dicks.
Yeah. I know. Not one of you's cool. Not one motherfucker.
Not one of you's cool. You're all dicks, man.
I know.
You could destroy the earth.
I know. That would be bad. That would be bad. But I mean, I don't know. Complete annihilation, or would you be okay with enslavement?
I guess if they gave me a cool place to stay for a while, and then I just kind of I don't have to go to work anymore.
Well, enslavement means you probably won't work for free, man. You probably work for.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they'll give us maybe they'll just like eat some of us, and they'll just kind of like we'll just be like cows.
Oh, I got
just kind of hang around where they feed us.
Yeah. Well,
I wouldn't mind that. I don't know. I think I'm just because I'm really tired right now, so I'm just like, I don't really.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. You'd be like that fucking Ferrari guy, huh?
I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. Well, that's hopefully. I know you don't care, Logan, but hopefully those of us who do care hope that doesn't happen.
Stop being so positive, Sam.
Yeah. I got to. Okay, so this is an interesting one. I don't think this was positive because a student driver crashes into DMV during road test. So security cameras at Connecticut Department of Motor Vehicles office were rolling when a student driver apparently failed her drug test by crashing into the building. Footage recorded inside the DMV Waterbury office on Tuesday shows the car crash rear first through the window of the building on the parking lot side. So the state police said that the 46-year-old permit holder who was taking a driving test accidentally hit the gas instead of the brake while back into a parking spot in front of the windows.
Oh shit!
Police said that
she went through the windows.
Yeah, she went through the fucking front of the whole building. Nobody was injured. From the people in the car were not injured. The people inside had minor injuries from the incident. Mm-hmm. And the worst thing of all is the student driver was issued an infraction for unsafe backing.
I wonder if she's like, did I pass?
Yeah, I know. Do I get my license? I know. What's the results?
You guys could just mail me the results if
I know.
Pass or not.
I know. So do I take my picture for the license here, or do I drive to the courthouse?
I know. I just got my hair did.
I know.
For the picture.
I know. Can I get a discount on the price?
God, just imagine how messed up that would feel. Dude, you know you messed up really bad.
Oh man.
Like it's like, man, how can you live that down now? And then like it's in the
on
like report on the news.
Oh
man.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. You're not living that down. Yeah. It would be worse. What if that was like your third fail or something? You know. I know.
Man, I thought I was the end of the world when I didn't pass my first one because I couldn't parallel park.
Oh, really?
Well, because it was like a stick shift, and I had a stick shift, and they wanted me to parallel park on a hill, like going up a hill.
Oh man, that's bad.
Yeah, and I was like, how the fuck am I gonna do
that? Yeah. Skip.
I know. I was like, I can't do this. And then the lady, I remember she was just like, put it in park, and then she like got on the other side and she drove me back home. I was like, fuck bitch, I know how to drive back.
She drove you back?
Parallel park. Yeah.
Oh shit, man.
And I was like, all right. So then I remember the second time I went in, the second time I went into a different DMV where it was more flat, where the area was flatter.
You went into Montana.
And then I passed five. Yeah.
You went to Montana when it's all there's no hill.
I knew there wouldn't be like a ton of hills, and I was like, all right, that'd be cool.
So then you passed, no problem.
Yeah, it passed the second time. Yeah.
I even asked her to drive me home on that time too.
I said, "Pass, bitch. You just drive me home."
I know. I'm tired.
In the back seat.
I know.
Yep. Well, we're gonna go on a break, and then when we come back, we'll do user stories or listener stories.
Listener stories.
We'll be right back. And we're back. All right. So we got listener stories this week. Oh
man, these fucking listeners.
Everybody sent us some good stories. Some of them were kind of shitty, but we're gonna talk about them anyway.
Yeah, because we love you all. Even though you might suck like us, we still love you.
Welcome to the Suck Nation.
Yeah. First story is by Henry 628. His story is about a possible pterodactyl. So, Henry writes, it was the late 80s. I must have been 10 or 11, but I was in the backyard with my BB gun shooting at birds and whatever I felt like, since my yard faced a big pasture. I was looking for my gun. I was looking for my next target when I saw what looked like a huge bird with a long beak and pointy head sitting on top of a power pole. I moved closer under it. I couldn't tell if it had feathers or any other color because the sun was behind it from what I recall. I had never shot a bird that big before, so I decided to take some shots at it. I fired my first shot, and I was short and hit the pole about a foot under it. I adjusted the shot again, and I think I went over it. I had a bad angle. It kind of shifted around, and I started to pump my gun up hard and fast, and before I could get another shot off, it extended these enormous wings and glided off. But the strange thing...
Pterodactyl?
Yeah. But the strange thing was that it had what looked like bat wings and sharp angles.
Oh, shit.
I never thought too much about it, but I started reading and hearing stories of sightings of pterodactyls. Maybe that's
was it pterodactyl?
Yeah. He said...
I was just joking.
Well, that's what I told you the story was called, pterodactyl.
Oh, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah. He said that maybe that's what I saw. Who knows, but I know I have never seen that ever again. Yeah, that's what the story was called, pterodactyl.
No. I didn't hear the first part. I just heard the part where he started shooting, where the guy started shooting at it.
No, that was called pterodactyl.
Oh, he probably looked out. He didn't hit it because the BB shot probably wouldn't have killed it if it was a pterodactyl.
Maybe.
Or to piss it off.
Maybe. But maybe if it did, I mean, maybe it wouldn't hurt it, right? Maybe it was just like a little BB gun. Maybe it wouldn't do shit.
Oh, it's for like a mosquito bite? Oh,
yeah, yeah, exactly. Or maybe it could have, like you said, really pissed it off and it would have attacked him.
Oh, that would have been a good story.
Yeah. I fucking lost both my eyes, my arm, my leg. Fought it off.
Fought it off with a toothpick.
Right off. I was a twig on the ground and I fucking bludgeoned it to death. But it got away. Alright, so what do you got?
I got one from Rosie87. Love the show. I listen to you guys when I'm driving to work. Or I'm glad your mom talked some sense into you and stopped you from going bi-weekly. LOL. She says, when I was 13, my parents had gotten a divorce and my dad moved out of the house and ended up living in a small one-bedroom apartment. I was living with my mom, but once he was settled down at his place, I spent every other weekend with him. The few nights I did, nothing really happened. But one night in October, I woke up at 3 a.m. and wasn't feeling well. I went into the kitchen to get a glass of water. I filled my glass with water from the water cooler and turned around to get something for my stomach out of the kitchen cabinets. When I realized that all the kitchen cabinet drawers were opened. They were all closed when I walked into the kitchen. Apparently when I turned my back on them, they had opened without making any noise. I was so freaked out, I ran out of the kitchen and woke my dad. When we got back, we realized that all the cabinets were closed and all the drawers were closed as well. After that, I dreaded going to my dad's house, but after that night, nothing ever happened again. I don't know if I dreamt it or if it really happened, but it seemed so real. I don't think it was a dream.
Damn. What made me think of with Rosie was, remember in Poltergeist, remember when like all those chairs and everything was upside down in the living room or in the kitchen?
Oh yeah.
When you said that, it made me think of that when like everything was all like fucking twisted upside down and fucked up.
That's kind of scary. Like if that happened to me, I would be fucking freaked out.
If all the cabinets were open,
like all the cabinets, yeah. I was like, you turn around, they're all open. I probably wouldn't stay in there.
You don't think so?
Because I don't know. That's kind of creepy though. I remember watching some YouTube videos where people would be talking, or they would be like, they wouldn't even do anything related to like ghosts or anything. They'd be like, showing.
Oh, it'd be like people like playing games or something, recording themselves.
Yeah, or they would be in the kitchen and they'd be like, oh, you're doing like a kitchen kind of show, and then like in the background, like the doors would open.
Yeah, that's right. I remember seeing something like that, and like on the third time when they did that, the guy or woman freaked out and like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I think I saw that one. Like it happened a couple times and she didn't realize it.
Yeah, and then she finally started hearing it, and then after like the third time or fourth time she heard it, she was like, fuck this. And I got out.
I've never really had anything that obvious happen. But I don't know, if I did, I probably wouldn't stick around either.
No, you don't think you'd investigate?
I think it would like take off first, and then after a while I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go back and kind of check, like, I'd get like some, maybe like get a stick or something.
so you think you would be able to go back?
I think I'd be able to go back, but I would want to get something, like just in case it's whatever it is, at least I can hit it, or
maybe. What if it's a ghost?
Get a knife. I'll still swing at it anyway.
I know. Yeah, you'd be whiffing that air, man. You're like a baseball player. Strike three. You're out. Well, this next story is from Amy 1985 XX. The story is called Seen Her Twice. So Amy says, I grew up in the country overlooking the neighbor's horse pasture. One evening when I was 14, I was outside reading my book on the patio. My mom called me and said dinner would be ready in about 10 minutes. So I decided to use the bathroom and wash up before eating. So I went and did my business, and I was washing up when I saw someone outside the bathroom window standing in the horse pasture. It was getting dark, and I couldn't make out any features. I went downstairs to eat dinner, and Mom said that I had told her I wasn't hungry. I was confused as I was ravenous, and I asked her why she said that. She said I had told her I wasn't hungry and that I was going to bed. We both seemed confused, but just dropped it. That night I went to bed. I had a horrible dream that some hooded figure was mumbling my name. I eventually went up to the hooded figure and pulled the hood back. It was my face under the hood, and then my hooded twin grabbed my face and started to scream a blood-curdling scream, and then I woke up. When I woke up, it was around 4 a.m., and the sun was almost ready to show itself. So I turned over in my bed to try to get comfortable and go back to sleep, and I heard my name be mumbled just like in my dream. So I froze with fear, too afraid to move. I eventually looked outside my window, and there was a girl who looked just like me staring at me, mumbling my name. I was so scared to move, and her menacing look was what scared me the most. Somehow I got the courage to scream back at her like she had in my dream, and she actually looked scared and just walked away. I never saw her again, but sometimes as I'm outside in the evening, I feel like someone is watching me, but I can never see anyone. I'm not sure if this is a doppelganger or a ghost warning me of a bad omen.
So like it was the same. It was her basically.
Yeah,
right?
it was like her twin or something. She saw it in her dream, and then she saw it in her window.
Oh, that's always creepy when something's at your window.
I know. It always is, man.
I know.
You never want to see something at your window.
When she saw her in the dream, she was in the hood, right? So it was
Yeah.
like, I wonder if that represented like her, like dying, kind of like death.
I don't know. That's what she was asking. She's like, I don't know if that's like my doppelganger, because sometimes they say, remember the show I did about doppelgangers? Sometimes they don't know if they're like a premonition of a bad omen coming. Sometimes they think that doppelgangers like want to kill you and take over your life, right? So they can be you. That's what she doesn't know of, and she thinks that she's scared it away, maybe, but she still feels like it's still out there, like, kind of watching her.
Kind of reminds me of that one story you told me last week about he saw his older version, and then when he grew older, he saw his younger version. Down that one.
That we were talking about this week.
Yeah,
that's right. That was more of a glitch in the Matrix type of story.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of like that, but I mean, in that story, there was no, correspondence between each other. It was just kind of like saw each other, freaked out. Or the older one remembered the younger one, but the younger one recognized the older one, but didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
Because he hadn't aged yet.
I wonder if it's something like that, maybe.
So basically, the story was that Logan's talking about is we met up this week, and I told him a story of a glitch in the Matrix where basically somebody saw themselves in the future, and in the future self saw the past, and the future self remembered being the young boy, and obviously it was just basically like a loop, like a glitch in the Matrix type story. Maybe we'll have a show about it and we'll talk about it. But
yeah, we need to do that one in a future show, because that was an interesting story.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure there's like more of them like
there's lots of them that I've read about.
All right, so we'll go to the next one.
Okay, what do we got?
This is from McGill G. It says, "Hello, Sam and Logan. I hope you guys are doing well. I have a story about my uncle you guys should hear. Me and my Uncle Robert had really close connection. Growing up, he would take me everywhere with him. Since my father had left me and my mom when I was young, my uncle was always there for us. He was the closest thing I had to a father. My Uncle Robert was a joker and would always call and leave funny messages on my phone when I didn't answer. A few years back, he had gotten into a car accident and he had died. I was devastated. I had just turned 18 and I didn't know where I was going in life. It felt as if though I had lost him and I needed him when I needed him the most. For a while things were not going my way and I went into a deep depression and stopped wanting to be around people. I kept to myself a lot and felt life was meaningless. So I kept sinking into deeper depression. I decided I didn't want to live anymore. I felt so alone, even when there was people around me. That's when I felt even the most loneliest. So I decided that I was going to take my life and hang myself from a tree where me and my uncle would go fishing when I was a kid. I left my house early in the morning and I set up the noose and stood up on a rock I was going to jump off of. I was ready to leave this miserable existence when all of a sudden I heard a notification on my phone, which I thought was strange because I had shut it off before walking out into the trees. Curious who would call me, I checked the phone and it had one unheard voicemail from my Uncle Robert's old phone. I took the noose off of my neck and I quickly played the message, and it turns out it was an old message he had left a year ago. It was my uncle singing "Don't Stop Believing" from Journey. I started crying and then I broke into laughter. I knew then that he was still watching over me. I grabbed all my shit. I went home and all that darkness that clouded me was gone.
Wow, so that's good. Now that's good that his uncle was still around. You always wonder about stuff like that, right? Like, do the people that we really loved, are they still around? Are they still watching us?
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because you don't know, like it could have been just like a technical glitch.
Yeah,
with the phone, because
exactly.
it was an old message or something. But it's just weird that would happen, like at that exact instance. He was thinking about just jumping off and ending it.
It almost feels like it's from the grave,
Yeah,
like it's somebody from the grave is contacting him, like, hey guy, don't waste your life.
A lot of people believe in like signs. They go through life and they're like, oh, there's certain things happen. They think, well, maybe this is why I'm here. This is what what I'm supposed to be doing.
Sure. No, I've heard of that. I've read on stories, people like that getting messages like from the grave. like voicemails or texts, stuff like that. I guess it's not unheard of. So
I've heard of I've heard of people where people had died, but they would like their Facebook would get updated.
Oh really? Well, could have been a family member having their password.
It might have, but it'd be like that's still kind of creepy.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I remember about, I think it was like in '08. I mean, that's why I was asking about a family member, because the guy that I used to work with, he died, but I had him on Facebook, and his brother was updating it, saying, "Hey, you know, my brother, you know, died today, or died, you know, yesterday," and so everyone was posting on there, and the brother had access to the account, so he was posting on his behalf, you know, letting everybody know about what had happened, and when, you know, updates of when funeral and viewings would be. So I'm not saying that's what happened with this one, but that could also be the case.
Yeah.
Who knows? So this next story is called Worst Event by Checo Mirror. When I was 17 years old, I was a total and subordinate jackass. Yeah. Sadly, this saved my life. My mom and dad always wanted me to do the right thing, but being 17, I already had all the so-called answers. I wanted to always be out mingling with women and partying with my buddies. This girl, let's call her Janet, finally hollered my way to hang out. She told me her parents liked to drink and that I could come over for some beers and other things. I was all over this idea. So I showered up and got ready to go. My parents wanted me to stay home since it was a school night. We got into a big fight and they told me that if I left, I wouldn't need to worry about coming home. My stuff would be outside waiting for me. As I said, being a stubborn teenage boy who wanted to get with Janet, I told him to go to hell and I didn't care. Even though my mother looked completely sad, as if she expected to never see me again, I stormed out of the house. As I drove away, the weather suddenly turned nasty. It started to get windy, followed by a huge rainstorm. I could barely see out of my car as the drops were blinding. Eventually, I made it to Janet's house. The house wasn't huge, but it was nice. Janet welcomed me in, and I said hello to her parents. They were already a little bit drunk, but I went to take a beer. Lights flickered, and then they went out. Janet thought this was romantic, and I went with it. We could hear her dad rumbling around down in the other room, and then he went outside. We paid him no mind, and we got back to our personal business. The lights came back on, so I figured the storm was over and the electricity restored. But I ended up looking outside, and I could see the wind was still going strong and the rain hadn't let up. Janet wanted my full attention, but I felt a nag in the back of my mind. Something didn't feel right, and I didn't know why. Janet, of course, noticed my distraction and asked what was wrong. I couldn't tell her why, but I said something felt off. So she started getting annoyed with me, and an argument ensued. So now our planned night of passion was gone because I couldn't focus. Just like I had with my parents, I stormed out of her house, with her calling me every name in the book and saying that I wasn't much of a man, and she was going to tell everyone how I couldn't perform. Yeah, damn. I know. She wanted it, man. I made it.
Wants the D.
Yeah.
Right.
I made it back home, and my parents were already asleep. I was thankful my stuff was not outside, and I think that had to do with my mom talking my dad out of it. I went to bed, and I and I woke with my mom waking me up as the police were there. They asked if I knew Janet, how did I know her, when did I last see her, etc. I told them everything about last night, almost being intimate, a fight, and me leaving. I was told that the neighbor went to check on her family after the storm in the morning. Apparently her father had turned on the electric generator but failed to open the enclosed room it was in to allow the fumes to vent out. He was so drunk to do anything but just turn it on, and he went back into the house. Everyone had died in their sleep from carbon monoxide poisoning. Had I stayed the night, I would have died along with them. My mother and father hugged and kissed me like I was still a little boy, and I was okay with that. My dad and I talked about how things needed to change, specifically my attitude. I was not in trouble with the police, but they wanted to know my recollection of last night's events. I wish Janet and I never left on bad terms. I feel sorry for her and her family. I don't wish this on anyone.
Wow.
Yeah, so
he could have been with them.
Yeah, he could have. If he would have stayed the night, if he would have just been like, fuck it, I'm gonna fuck her. He would have just passed out with them and been part of that. Now, that's not cool that it happened to the family, but it's a good thing he changed his life around. I mean, that should be an epiphany right there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I probably would change the way I did stuff after that. 'Cause it makes you wonder, like, you know,
like you're getting a second chance.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, they didn't get one, but he did. So, yeah, it sounded like he was a shithead when he was younger, but at least it
Most of us are anyway.
Well, yeah, exactly, right. But at least he listened to his gut.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not able to do that. We just fucking go with it and we pay for it later.
Yeah. You should at least hit it first and then.
I think it was just nagging him, man, too much. I think it was nagging him. He didn't say if he got anything else, man, but. Yeah.
He's just being a gentleman, did he?
Yeah, sorry. Let's wait till we're married. I can stay here, but we can't touch.
Not until I'm 42.
Yeah, I know. I promised my mom. I wouldn't get married till I'm 42. And I wouldn't have sex till I'm 48.
And then babies at 49.
Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting story.
All right, I got another story.
Okay.
Do you have one after this one, or
I do, depending if we have time, because this last one's kind of long.
Okay, so I'll do mine, and then we'll do one more after that.
Okay.
All right. This is from listener Sydney. She says, "This is a story my grandmother told me. Back in the early 1930s, my grandmother remembers being around 8 years old. She had just finished school, and her and a group of children were all walking back home when they saw in a nearby field a circus tent. Outside the tent was a man dressed as a clown, holding red balloons. He kept waving for them to come over as he pointed to the tent. He looked so friendly and welcoming, all the children flocked to the clown. The clown wouldn't say a word but started handing out balloons and large paper tickets to all the children. All of them were ecstatic. The clown then pointed to the entrance of the tent, where it opened up right on cue. The entrance was dark and hard to see what was inside. My grandmother said she felt something was off, but a few of the children had already entered the tent and nothing seemed to be happening to them, so she figured it was safe to follow the crowd. As she entered the tent, another clown took her ticket and directed them to chairs which were placed in rows facing a white screen. In the back of the room was a projector. She sat down in a chair and waited for all the children to be seated. Soon the room became dark as the entrance of the tent closed. The projector began to spin up, and she watched as static was projected onto the screen, and a series of weird tones filled the air. As she continued watching, she noticed a strange smell, and she started to feel drowsy and lethargic. The static that was projected on the screen started changing to strange images. She could barely remember any of the details of what she saw, but she remembered that they were terrifying her. As the image went on for what felt like eternity, the film reel finally ended and the room went dark. She remembered the clowns ushering all the children out. The only thing she recalled after was waking up with all the rest of the children in a field, and the tent was nowhere to be seen. She says after that day, every few years, when she was sleeping in her bed, that she would be woken up in the middle of the night, and outside her window would be a clown asking her to come out and play. To this day, she doesn't know what the clowns did to her or what happened or why it happened to her, but she feels that the clowns were maybe aliens or something that was trying to experiment with them.
Like Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Do you remember that movie?
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, you haven't?
I've never seen Killer. I've heard of it. I've heard people.
It's a cult classic, man.
Is it?
Yeah, the clowns are pretty fucked up, and they eat blood. I mean, they eat humans, right? So, like, they drink our blood and stuff. Basically, they're aliens. But yeah, they look pretty creepy, and that's what when you're saying that, it made me think of that.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Oh, when you said she was sitting there, she smelled like she started feeling a little faint. Mm-hmm. I was thinking maybe she farted and it stunk too bad. so maybe she was like, "Oh God, I stink."
Jesus Christ! I should have put some deodorant on.
I know. Wow. So she just kept having dreams or something.
Yeah. So like after she just remembers that happening, and then after that, like they would every once in a while they'd come, and she thinks they would come and like. She thinks they would come and like experiment on her or just check up on her. Mm-hmm. And she's had it like she said she had it basically her whole life was she had to deal with that.
Oh wow.
but she never understood why, or what the reasoning was for.
Yeah. And how old was she? Did it say at all?
She said when it first happened, she was 8.
Oh wow.
And
wow, so her whole life she's been dealing with that.
Yeah, and it's weird because there's other kids too, but she never mentioned like any of the stories from the other kids. So I'm just kind of wondering, like, if they had the same thing, or if she ever talked to them.
I don't know. That's weird. Maybe I could see it being something like, "Hey, this probably only happened to me. I'm not gonna tell anyone because they might not believe me." And then,
we could tell people, "Oh, it's a
Yeah, it's gonna seem weird
seem
and
like a crazy
nutty.
person.
Yeah. Shit. Well, hopefully she can get some help for that or something. Maybe some hypnosis.
Well, she's probably pretty old by now. She's a grandmother.
Yeah, that's true.
I
don't know. What if she had her kid when she was 18? And her kid had a kid when her kid was 16? She could be like 36. she could be like a 36-year-old grandmother, man.
I had my babies when I was 15 years old.
Yeah, exactly, man. She could fucking. It's possible, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Grandmother nowadays doesn't mean 60 or 70 anymore.
She'll be a gilf.
Yeah, no doubt.
Hey, your grandma's hot. How old is she?
Fucking 36. She's
36.
old.
She's still ready to party.
Yeah. So this last story, this one's called "Something Followed Me" by Erickson 1975 Glock. So, he says, back in 1994, I used to love going fishing at nighttime. I was 22 years old and an avid fisherman. I would set out at night on my little canoe with just a cooler to put the fish in, a mini tackle box, a backpack to carry snacks, water bottle, a hunting knife, and my my dog named Scout. One night I headed out onto the Pierre Marquette River in Michigan to go fish. I just gotten off work and I didn't have to work the next day. Gassed up the truck, bought my supplies, and loaded the canoe into the truck. Scout and I were eager to go fishing. Scout was pretty tranquil and usually didn't bark too much. He kept me company as I would fish most of the night. I drove to my normal spot and unloaded my boat and supplies. As I got in the boat, Scout seemed hesitant to get in. I finally ushered him in and he wouldn't really sit down but kept looking back at our own riverbank. I got in and started to paddle out to the river. The river was calm. I just sat down, working on my worms for my lure. Scout continued to stare onto the riverbank. His ears would perk up while looking at our own riverbank. Eventually, I got to the middle of the river and just sat there, throwing my line in. I figured if I get good bites within the first hour, I would stick around longer. No bites would lead to a quick trip back to my bed. So after about 20 minutes, Scout started to growl, just a low growl. I told him to be quiet, and he kept growling. Then I noticed it was an odd thing. There was no forest noises. Everything was completely silent. No frogs, no birds, no insects, nothing. Scout's growl got a little bit more deeper, and I looked to what he was looking at, but I couldn't see anything. It was pitch black out there as the moon was covered behind the clouds. I kept staring at what he was looking at, shining my flashlight a couple times, but I saw nothing. I sat down and tried to concentrate on the fishing, but I was starting to feel a little nervous. Totally quiet forests are not something I'm used to dealing with, so I was feeling a bit odd too. We kept drifting down the river slowly when all of a sudden Scout started to bark. His bark seemed frantic and shaky. As I looked to what he was barking at, I could make out a big tree. I shined my flashlight on it and I could see nothing. And I could see something jumping from the tree to tree in one quick motion. Let me say, sorry. I shined my flashlight on it and I could see something jumping from tree to tree in one quick motion. Its jump seemed silent, as if it were trying to be stealthy. Scout started to bark with malice, which I'd never heard before. I flashed my light at the tree, but whatever it was stayed hidden. We ended up passing the tree and kept floating down the river. Everything was still silent, and I thought, F this, maybe I should just handle it with my knife, with Scout helping me out. All of a sudden you could hear some sort of animal tussle in the brush ahead of us on that same riverbank. It sounded like some animal was being shredded apart, and its screams were horrible. Scout was going crazy, but he wouldn't leave the boat. Once the animal being shredded was dead, the silence resumed. but this time in the brush I could make out some eyes staring back at me. That let me know that my chances were not on land, but staying on the boat. Wait. That let me know that my chances of survival were not on land, but staying safe on the boat. My flashlight would only pick up the eyes, which oddly reflected back as a reddish in color. I couldn't see the body, but the eyes were fixed on me. Every once in a while, I would look at Scout as he was barking ferociously. I kept drifting down the river. I kept drifting down the river, and the creature kept pace on the bank, never coming out from the tree line. My flashlight couldn't penetrate the trees, so it was always well hidden, except for those hideous eyes. It let me know it was there, and it kept following me. Scout kept barking like crazy. Those menacing eyes stayed on me, and if I could see its mouth, it almost seemed to be smiling. I tried to paddle back up the river towards my truck, but it followed me on the banks. Booking it to my truck didn't seem to be an option, so I stayed in the boat and kept drifting down the river. Those eyes kept pace with me the whole night. Time went slow, but eventually the night ended and the sun started coming up. I was so mentally exhausted, and this is when I noticed the creature was no longer on the bank. I paddled back to where my car was and jumped out of the boat with Scout and my backpack and my gear. I ran to my truck and found the window broken, tires slashed, and big slashes on my driver's side door. We had no cell phones back then, so I had to hover 4 miles to the closest ranger station. The ranger thankfully gave me a ride home, and I decided night fishing wasn't for me anymore. I still wonder what it was. Yeah, I still wonder what it was. Why was it following me? Why did it tear up my truck? What did it want? But I just know I chose to never fish again at night.
Dude, if I saw something like that on the side of the river, I'd just stay right there.
No.
I was like, no, not today.
You stay back, motherfucker.
I'm just gonna float until the end of the river.
Yeah,
go
you
right
stay
into the
there,
sea.
I'll stay here. Let's fucking make this pact. We won't cross each other's lines. Oh man, you know what would be worse? What if it stayed there during the day? It's fucking.
Well, at least you could see it, you know. Like,
yeah,
you know,
but I mean,
run.
like, what if it's all hideous and shit?
It's even worse.
Yeah, it's all like.
What the fuck is that?
Looks like from what's it called? South Park. It'd be Man Bear Pig. You know, remember that?
Yeah.
It's all fucked up.
It's Man Bear Pig. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, man. That'd be shitty though. What if you run to your truck and your truck's just fucking toasted?
So did it tear up the tires or something? Or?
Yeah, man, it slashed up everything.
Damn. Fuck, everything must have been fucking a beast, because...
Yeah,
it tore up metal and stuff.
Yeah, tore up his tires, it slashed up his, doors and knocked off his, it seemed like it just fucked up his car.
Oh, it's like an ex-girlfriend, huh?
Yeah. Real bad one. Real bad.
All right, we're coming into a close, so...
Yeah, we're not here for a long time, just a good time.
So we're going to be taking off. Thank you for listening, and thank you for writing in the stories.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah,
we like your stories.
Yeah, they were actually pretty good. Some pretty good.
Yeah. Some of you suck. No.
Some of them suck, but I'm not going to say which ones. But
yeah, no, they were all good. We enjoyed.
Yeah, they were all good. So have a good morning, evening, or night, and we'll see you next week. Until then, stay strange.
Stay strange, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you enjoy the show, please go to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you're listening, and please give us a good rating. If you want to share a story or have ideas for a future episode, you're welcome to visit us at www.thestrangepodcast.com. We look forward to hearing from you.